All right, now you've probably heard of container homes. This is something being preferred because of its durability, sustainability, and its affordability. It has so many benefits, and that is why we're here on this episode of The Realtor. We're all the way in Kitengela, of course, and we want to find out why the shift from conventional homes to containers, So this episode is right for you if this is something that maybe you're interested in and you've been considering. And Sanchez is here, of course. He's a contractor, to help us understand all this. So, karibu sana to The Realtor, and thank you so much for welcoming us. Kindly introduce yourself to our viewer.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Sanchez Louis. I'm a professional interior designer and a contractor. I do construction, and we do container constructions. Our company is an all-round design company that does building and construction, but we are specialized in container design and container construction and container concepts. Yes.
Just that? Container design is what you major in, Sanchez?
No, we don't major in container design per se. We do the schematics and then the drawings, and then after doing the drawings, we do the construction and the construction of the container itself. Yes.
And when somebody hears about container homes, sana what comes to mind is mabati. Is this mabati?
No, okay, it's mabati, but our container is a more strong mabati. Yeah, it's not just any other mabati. It is very strong and very durable, just like any other, like if we were to talk about the thickness of a container compared to the normal black sheet, it is more thicker than the normal black sheet. It's almost like a 3.5 millimeter, which makes it very, very strong and very durable.
So for example, the heat that comes with mabati, the black sheet, does it also apply when it comes to containers as well?
Yeah, it applies, but it all depends on the finishing. With containers, there are some things that we do, insulation that now reduces the heat. Like when you do like a container like this, we will have to do some insulation, and when we do the insulation, we use gypsum for the insulation finishing. We use fiberglass for insulation, and sometimes we use mortar. With some containers, when we want to insulate it from heat, we put wire mesh on the container and then put on it mortar. The mortar, normal mortar, cement and plaster. And then we get the insulation that you need.
Amazing, Sanchez. So what has inspired the change from conventional homes to now containers?
Okay, some of the things that have inspired people from the typical stone house or conventional home is because the container has more advantages. Because we can see for containers, it's easier to build. It takes a shorter time. Like this one is like a 3-bedroom. It's going to be a 3-bedroom container house. And we've only taken like 3 weeks to do it. For a typical house, it will take like 3 months or sometimes even 2 months to finish. So it's cheaper and it's faster to build a container house. Also, it's cheap. When it's cost effective, you will save more when you're building a container house more than when you're using a typical stone house. Because there are so many things that are involved in a typical stone house.
If you're talking about 3 weeks, that's a short time.
Yes.
But foundation of a container, how does it look like?
Oh, that's a good question. Now, there's a very big difference between the foundation of a container and a typical stone house foundation. The container just uses simple foundation. We just use things that are called studs. Like this house, it's just mounted on studs. But for a typical house or a stone house, we have to have a substantial foundation that involves excavation, footings. It involves a lot of stones so that it can, stand the weight bearing of the entire building. Yeah.
So does that now account for everything that needs to be done when trying to convert a container into now a living space?
No, there are so many other things that account for. You see, like when you want to use a container to change it into a home, we also make a decision on, we check very many other factors, like the place, the soil profile of the place, because, as much as the container has, it doesn't need a big foundation or a substantial foundation, you will also want your home to be on a stable ground. So we also check the soil profile. We also check the need of the client. Some clients may just want a house that is just container. Some other clients may want an embedded house. That's not only container, but they want maybe a container that is mixed with stone. Others want a container that is mixed with the wood finish. So there are so many other factors that we consider. Yeah.
So if you say wood finish and stones, can they really stand each other?
That is a very good question. You can just look at this building. This is an embedded container. It has both the stone and the container, because we have embedded the stone, or the mortar, and the container. So it all depends on what also the client wants, the final product, how he wants it to look. We can still even make it to have three materials. We can use stone, container, and even wood, because we have to have a pergola there that is wooden. So it all depends on what you want or what you want to achieve.
Yeah. So we are talking about sustainability. Tell us how this actually now brings in the aspect of sustainability when it comes to conservation of the environment.
Oh, that's a good question. Now, you look like for a container, the process that involves a construction of a container, and you compare the process that involves a construction of the typical house. When we talk about environment, I think like let's say, for example, a wooden house. It entails cutting trees, getting timber, and building a house. For stones, it involves going to the quarry, doing excavation of the stones, getting to excavate the sand. And I believe all these things, activities, affect the environment in a negative way. So, but for a container is already recycled material. It's made from a recycled material, which is metal that can be recycled. And then it is very durable, which means it can be used for a longer time without it affecting the environment. Yeah.
You see, Sanchez, we've seen also videos of people who have container homes, but now these container homes are, let's say, they can travel with them, they travel in them.
That's absolutely.
So is this also something that you do?
Yes, we call it, it's portable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, portable is the one.
With containers, they are very portable, and it's do it yourself, actually. I remember there's a day we did a 6-bedroom in Nairobi, and we transported it to Masai Mara. So that's how portable it is. We can actually make this thing from somewhere else and go reassemble it in another place. Yes, so it is very possible to carry this house later on and go actually reassemble it somewhere else.
Just the way it is?
Yes, maybe we'll just have to break some small things, but 90% will be, we can actually salvage it.
Yeah. So in what areas do you see containers surviving best in?
I believe in there's the what do you call it? The climatic factor that you have to consider. You see, if the environment is very hazardous or very, what do you call it? It's not conducive. They can lead to, like, let's say for instance, if it's a place that is high humidity, there'll be a lot of rusting, and sometimes it may not last long. It will mean you'll have to have a lot of maintenance, have to be on top of your maintenance so that you make sure that the container does not rust. So it also depends, because other places, like in hot areas, the container may be very hot inside. But the truth of the matter is this: we have the ways that we do, and so that we can control the containers so that the inside we have room temperature. And one of the ways that I've said is by insulation, using the various methods of insulation.
You also mentioned something about soil profile. I see this one is like black cotton.
Black cotton soil.
It is black cotton. So which soil do you recommend and do you prefer the most?
Okay. Every constructor will tell you, even engineers, they'll tell you that black cotton soil is not the best because it expands. Red soil would be the best, but I can tell you the truth. When it comes to container, the soil is not really a big factor, because the foundation of the container, as I said earlier, is different from the foundation of the typical house. So even if you take me to a forest, I will still mount for you your container, because I just need to get a small place to put the studs and then I'm able to mount the container. That's what makes it even more easier to build a container. Because for a normal typical house, the soil profile is very crucial. You will have to really think before you build, because you have to, an engineer has to come and check if the soil is good or bad. If it's black soil, you'll have to do major excavation.
Now, Sanchez, are you doing this alone or you have somebody helping you do all this?
Very many people. Okay, in our company, we have in-house designers, interior designers. I'm an interior designer by myself. We have in-house architect. We have in-house engineers, civil engineers. And even my wife, who is also a co-director, she also helps us in color scheme and kitchen design. Yes.
So when you're coming up with a kitchen design,
Yes.
do you go with your taste or you go with the client's taste?
My taste. So my wife's taste, we go with the client's taste.
Okay.
Yeah, what the client says, we can only help out in one area or the other to give advice. Yeah, we can give advice in where we feel like maybe the client is going off a little bit. But most of the time, we always look at the client's taste first.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we improve on it by giving the needed advice.
All right.
Yes.
Just hold on there. It's so windy here in Kitengela, NBC. Karibu niende na upepo. Lakini stay tuned. You're watching The Realtor. We're talking about container homes. Don't go too far. You're coming back.